This is Gwyn Morfey. He started designing games in Adelaide in 2004.
About then.
Yeah, okay. And he will talk about the game Citydash he designed. And yeah, the stage is yours. Welcome, Gwyn Morfey.
Thank you. So, hi guys. As I said, I run Fire Hazard in London. We do a bunch of games, but the most popular one and the one we're focusing on most is called Citydash. We're playing at the Zavo. You should definitely come along and play. But Citydash is now what I call a mature design. We still get feedback sheets every time, but we aren't making any more major changes. It's finally gotten to the point where I'm pretty happy with it. It works as a game. But it took a really long time to get there. It's not like we just scribbled down a design and ran it. It was a very long process over years to get it to this point. So I'm going to talk about all the stuff we tried on the way, how much of it worked and how much of it didn't work, and how we've gotten to a game design process that I'm pretty happy with now, and I'm fanning out to produce more games using the same kind of system. So I guess I should probably start by saying, well, firstly, jump in and ask questions and things. I mean, it's a relatively small group and we're on a bus, so if you don't hear anything, you don't understand anything, or you want me to change direction or explain something, please do give me a yell. I will start by explaining how Citydash actually works now, like what the finished design looks like. So if you buy a ticket to one of our London games, which we're running every few weeks, you'll be given a start point, which is always at a pub. You show up in a group of somewhere between 2 and 4. Either you book with a group or we'll put you in a group when you get there. As a team, we'll give you a map, which will look something like that. We'll give you some IDs to pin on your front and back, which will look something like that. And you will have a web address that you open up on your phone. You only need one working phone per team, so somebody on your team, or all of you, if you're highly organized, will open this thing up. Then we give you a bit of a briefing, we take you outside, I blow a whistle and everybody runs off at once. And what they're running off to do is to go and find very small checkpoint stickers that are hidden all over the area. They look like that. So you've got hints showing up on your phone, which will give you a grid reference. It might say B3, it's a stop sign. And so your team will run out there and try to find a sticker that's somewhere around there. You've usually got, well, you've got 4 checkpoints open as the game starts, but more of them are opening up every minute. So you might, as a team, go, wow, one just opened up and we're right there, let's go for it, or let's keep doing what we're doing. You can hit them in whatever order you want. I can actually see one from here. That will be important later. And try to find the stickers, type in the code, get the points. Your phone's got a live scoreboard that's showing you how you're doing. So as soon as anybody on your team types in the code, you'll see the scoreboard update and you'll get a message about what rank you have now and how your team's going. That's the easy bit. The hard bit is that you can see there are 4 colored zones in here. In each zone, there's a guard. It's one of our crew who's running around, generally wearing high-vis, but sometimes they're wearing a rabbit mask or something like that. Depends on the theme. At the Easter game, we had we had one of our guards dressed up like Frank from Donnie Darko. They are looking for you, and they don't have to catch you. They only have to see you. So if they can get close enough to you to see the ID you're wearing, they type that in. You lose a stack of points, and you lose access to some of the checkpoints. So if you're trying to get through to the yellow zone to claim checkpoint Y3 and you get seen, you can't ever claim that checkpoint anymore. So there's a combination of running for checkpoints and hiding from guards. So like either see them coming and hide from them before they start chasing you, or just straight up outrun them if you can and if you have to. And we have a big variety of guards as well. It basically depends on the crew we've got available and how much they like running. So if I'm out there, I'm not that fast, but I don't ever give up. I will chase you all the way through to the edge of the zone. So you literally, you have to outrun me, nothing else is going to work. If Ruth is out there, she doesn't run. As like a policy, she does not run, but she will ambush you. She knows where you're likely to head, she knows the city well, she'll be waiting around a corner and will just pop out and go, hi. And by the time you started running, it's too late. If Dave's out there, he's got no stamina, but he's wicked fast. So if you can lose him like in the first 100 meters, you're fine. So there's a whole bunch of tactics going on in there. There's some other stuff happening as well. Some of the hints are really cryptic. So some of them it'll be obvious. It'll be stop sign, corner of these 2 streets. And some of them it'll be 2 lines from a pole, and that's all you get. And you have to figure out as a team where that is and go and find a sticker. Or if you're not any good at cryptics, you just follow another team that's doing it and get it that way. There's some other stuff like the backs of the guards have checkpoints on as well. So you can sneak up on a guard and score points that way, and go hunting them, and your bonus points for the first people to find a checkpoint location. So that's the core of the game. So that's the easy bit. I'll start with the first iteration of this. Wasn't even called Citydash. It was called Suspected. It started when the Science Fiction Film Festival in London, who've got a huge crowd, like a massive mailing list, asked me to design a game for 1,000 people. And I went, okay, that's an interesting constraint. There's a whole bunch of things you can't do if you have 1,000 players. You can't have meaningful interactions between players and crew. You can't do any kind of mass briefing. People have to know what they're doing already, because you can't get a megaphone and brief 1,000 people or screw it up. And you need to have a game that people can spread out in, or you're going to get a queue 1,000 people long at your first checkpoint. So I built a game that's had every team, in fact every player, we're in teams at this point, with a custom MP3 file. So you have an hour-long MP3 that would be feeding you plot and story and instructions and checkpoint locations, and every single player got a different one. I wrote some code that built custom MP3s and did this incredibly advanced choreography that would send players so they'd never quite collide, and it would balance across the whole game, and everybody would hit different checkpoints at different times, and it would be beautiful, and then it would brief everyone and bring them in for a finale at the correct time. And you had to start when you heard Big Ben chime 1 PM. So you had that everybody press the button at the same time thing. You can't really do chasing as crew. If you've got 1,000 people, you can't chase them all, there's not enough of you. So that's where the whole idea of only having to see people came in from. Because as a guard, you've got area denial that way. You can lock down 100 players at once if you can just see them. But apart from that, it was the core of the game. Like, find checkpoints, type in codes, get points, but you're getting the clues fed in over time. And it kind of worked. People had fun, but people also got hopelessly out of sync. I think if you've tried to do an MP3-based game, you know the synchronization does not work. Players will start it at the wrong time, their phones will ring, their phones will reboot, their phones will go flat. Some people will go, I need more time to do this checkpoint, and just pause it. Which, no, you can't, no. But I don't think I did that. I don't think I even warned them in the briefing. I just assumed that people would understand that. So we had people who were still trying to go to the finale 45 minutes after the game was over and we'd packed up. Yeah. But the basic idea was there. Like, it didn't run particularly smoothly, but I could see that there was something in that game that worked. So let's pull out the good bits and get rid of the rest. And that's where Citydash came from, is I took Suspected and went, which bits here actually worked? So it turns out the bits that worked were spread out finding checkpoints. That's fun. That's run for stuff, solve problems, find things, and avoid patrols. Like, this idea of not even being seen, that's kind of new. People get into that. That is also balanced in that you don't always just have to outrun people, because I wanted a game that was accessible to people who aren't just runners. So if you've got like break line of sight or be sneaky or hide as options, that works really well. So we keep that. We completely get rid of the MP3s. Yo.
No, sorry, I just read a friend of mine, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So we keep the we kick out the MP3s because it doesn't work. It was a massive headache to generate like hundreds of custom MP3s and get the right ones to the right players. And also it's isolating. When you've got headphones in, you can't talk to people, you can't work with people, you can't have teams, which is no good. So we ditched that. We got rid of the entire plot. Plots are hard. Players don't understand plots, so we just got rid of it.
So guys, so that you know what's going to happen right now, it's Gwyn Morfey speaking, and he's talking about the game Citydash he designed, and yeah, you go on.
Cool. So yeah, we took the entire complicated, beautiful plot out of Suspected and threw it away, because players are busy. They're having enough trouble concentrating on, watch out for that guy, is there a guard around that corner, where are my mates, is it time for lunch yet, what's the code for that checkpoint? They can't think about the struggle of the brave resistance movement. No, we got rid of it. We got rid of the turning point in the middle as well. It was just too complicated. And the first Citydash ran without plot. I literally say, go and find the checkpoints. We don't tell you why you want checkpoints. We don't tell you why the guards are chasing you. Just do it, okay? And I thought that would be a temporary thing, but actually we still haven't put the plot back. So we got rid of that. We kept this check-in and the scoring mechanic from suspected. That was using text messaging back then, because text messaging is reliable, and people really liked getting instant feedback, not having to come back and find out, yes, you got these 3 checkpoints right, you got that one wrong, your overall score is 55, and we'll work out your rank. You know, instant. As soon as you claim it, we say, you are now ranked 7th, and you are 5 points behind number 6. Go, go, go. So that stayed in. And we made the whole thing a lot easier, because suspected was just really hard. There were plenty of teams that were scoring 0, and that's just not a good way for a team to win a game. So that turned into the first kind of Citydash run, which is just the core of that. We give you a map, it's got checkpoints already on it, we send you out, score them with SMS, come back in, hand out prizes. And that actually worked pretty well. Like, thinking back on it now, it is unbearably primitive compared to the game we run now, but that was getting 4.5 stars on feedback sheets out of 5, and people were having a really good time. It was getting really popular. But from then we started looking through the feedback sheets and getting common themes out of it, and also talking to the crew, because afterwards you come back to the pub and you all sit around and go, right, how'd that go? What do we need to change? And we were redesigning for every single run and running it every few weeks. One of the first things to come out of it is it was a bit weird to have a player running towards a checkpoint, trying to avoid a guard, get seen by the guard, okay, loses some points, and just keep running for the checkpoint. Like, you basically go, hi there, and just keep going. It's weird. You don't get this feeling that you've just failed. Like, there should be consequences to this, right? We didn't have people fearing the guards enough, and they weren't getting together as a team and going, right, we need to replan, that didn't work, new strategy. So that's where the zone bans came in. We split the playfield into 4, have 1 guard in each one, and if you got seen by a guard, you permanently lost access to every checkpoint in that zone. Like, it was a massive penalty. You just lose a whole chunk of the game area. You have to leave now, there's no point. But it did what I wanted to do, which had people fear the guards and also leave when they got spotted, because you don't want people hanging around with a guard that can't threaten them anymore, because they lose their fear of guards. You want them to be this terrifying presence. You don't want them to go, oh, hi Bob, you can't score us anymore, so we've got nothing to fear from you. So we ran it like that, and that works, but it's pretty harsh, because if you get spotted 4 times, the whole game area is close to you. Like, you lose, man. You're done. You can't score any more points. And I actually did that. I played, because one of the ways you have to do it to improve your game design is play it yourself. And I played it, and of course all the guards knew me, and they were gunning for me like anything. And I got wiped out of all 4 zones in about 35 minutes. Yeah. Redesign. The next thing that happened is we went, okay, I really like that zone ban idea, but it can't be permanent, because you get locked out of the whole area. But we can't just say you lose access to Y3 for 10 minutes, because a smart player is going to go up there, write the code for Y3 on his hand, and then just text it in 10 minutes time. That doesn't work. So we thought about this for a while, and eventually went, you permanently lose access to all the existing checkpoints, so you have to leave the zone. But new ones will open up later. And everything that opens up after you got spotted, you're allowed to get. So we have 1 or 2 checkpoints open to start with, and then every few minutes, another one opens up. So it's a penalty, and it kicks you out of the zone, but it's not permanent. That seems to work really well. The problem is it's really expensive, because you have to send a text message to every single player every time you open up a checkpoint. And I was spending 50 or 60 quid per game just in text message fees. Which is doable, but it's a bit crap. Also, players will get hopelessly confused about which checkpoints were open, because you're getting a message about every minute at this point about you're banned from this one, but this one is open, but also you're banned from this one, and also you're ranked 7th now, and it's just really hard. So that's when I went, okay, text messages are reliable, they've taken us this far. The most important thing about a tech game is it works, but let's try going to a web-based game. So yeah, anyway, I was talking about making the shift to going to a smartphone-based game. And we didn't do that lightly, because I've played a lot of really broken smartphone-based games, and they're really frustrating, because you just get into it, and then something goes wrong, and you get completely pulled out of the game world. So at the same time we did this, we switched to going from individuals who can run together if they want, to being in a team. And the advantage of that is, if you're in a team of 4, the chances are not all of your phones are broken at any given moment. Like, among 4 people, you've probably got 1 phone that works. That's been true for almost every game we've done. It now gets to the point where I show up with a couple of spare phones in my bag, and if it's completely hopeless, I hand those out. Or we can move people between teams, but one way or another, we can get people into groups of 4 with a working phone each. And the nice thing about this is you can do a much richer interface. We can show people every checkpoint that's open on a nice, easy to understand display. We can send extra messages to people, and it doesn't cost money, so I can send extra hints to people as well. I can play sounds, so instead of just having, if you're not sure if you've been seen by a guard, instead of checking your phone to have a look, now you actually get this tone that's unmistakable coming out of the phone, and your whole team go, oh man, we got done. And I can send extra messages as well, so I actually now send you a message on the phone showing you not only which zones you're banned from, but whose fault it is, which is great, because if anyone on the team gets spotted, you all get banned. Otherwise you split up. And that's basically where we are now, with a web-based app that's running the game on those kind of parameters. There's a bunch of stuff we've been tweaking since then, but they're minor changes, things like adjusting a first to find penalty, or in some cases, and this was Amy's idea, having multi-stage checkpoints. So you get to the first one, you don't get any points yet, it gives you a hint for somewhere else you've got to go, which gives you a hint for somewhere else you've got to go. But if you do all 3 steps, you get a huge pile of points. And that helps to make the game accessible to the people who like cryptic clues and solving puzzles, but they're not necessarily runners. Because while the runners are just getting 10 points here, 10 points here, 10 points here, 10 points here, the guys who would rather think about things rather than sprint around the place can do this thing and get 100 points. And it keeps it balanced and tries to make it accessible to a whole stack of people. So that's where we got to now. I'm going to jump off this thing and answer questions about game design and how this thing works and the process of making it. Thanks, guys.